Deonna Purrazzo, Woman of Honor in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got that out. I was going over that a bunch of times in my head and all. We're in West Palm Beach in South Florida. This is actually Ring of Honor's debut in West Palm Beach. I know we got a little rain today, but just what's it like coming down here, being part of this debut show, and also just returning to Florida in general?
Oh, it's exciting. I don't think we've been here in Florida since last year at Supercard of Honor, so it's always nice to make a return to a place and meet new people and interact with fans we haven't met yet.
What do you like about what this job entails and what you're doing?
Women of Honor is great because we're making our own history. I say it time and time again, Women of Honor was never supposed to be what it is today. We were never supposed to have a Women of Honor champion or a tournament that we just held, so it's a really accomplishing feeling for me to be here at Ring of Honor, and it's the place that I consider my home, and build this division from the ground up.
Right, because you're one of the pioneers for the Women of Honor. So enlighten us on a little bit on how that started, how that journey took place.
Yeah, luckily I met Mandy 4 years ago now, I guess it was, and we just became friends instantly, and she had trained at the Ring of Honor dojo, and it was always her dream to create a women's division here and keep it permanent, because we had Sarah Del Rey and Daisy Hayes come in, and they were on some shows and then not on some shows, and it was a very tit-for-tat kind of thing, and she wanted to cement a women's division here, and because we were friends, I was invited to the dojo to train, and they decided to give us a match, and that kind of rebirthed Women of Honor, as they like to say. So yeah, I mean, this July will be 3 years.
Did you think going into that match that we could revolutionize something, we could do something? Was there a little pressure to do that, or you guys really weren't thinking along those lines at the time?
I think for me, it was just like, I'm here to do a job and we'll see what happens. Hopefully they like me. But for Mandy, again, that was her dream to create this. So I think for her, it was a bit more pressure than maybe it was for me, because she was seeing her dream out and I was just here to do what they asked me to do. But to kind of look back now and see that we've created such a big thing, and the first match we had in Baltimore, July 2015, was just supposed to be a dark match, and they put it on YouTube, and it was a surprise, and the internet loved it, and fans wanted to see more women's wrestling here, so it's really kind of jump-started from the fans, really.
How did you feel that night went?
It was incredible. I had never wrestled for Ring of Honor before, and growing up, I didn't know what wrestling was outside of WWE. I was a WWE fan, and until I started wrestling, I kind of saw that there was Ring of Honor and there was TNA and there was this crazy independent scene, and you could travel internationally, and to come here, it really broadened my horizons to a new style of wrestling and more dreams to make the women's division something.
And the women's division is growing, and like you said, Women of Honor, and you have a champion now as well, which is awesome.
Sakai, yeah.
That's great. With all that said, when you were first starting, what were you doing, and what made you decide, okay, now it's time for me to give this a try?
I just think that initial time here at Ring of Honor,
I mean before that.
Oh, before?
I mean when you're just like, what were you doing beforehand? Were you working? Were you into sports? What was going on?
Well, I grew up an athlete. I was a competitive cheerleader for about 14 years. I did soccer and track, and I wanted to play football with my brother.
That's right. You saw the magazine with Alexa Bliss on the cover.
I probably
the cheerleading
did have that
magazine,
yeah,
right, when she was a cheerleader and all.
And I saw wrestling, and I was like, holy crap, these women are so cool, and they're strong, and they're powerful, and I want to try that one day because I could totally be good at that. And it just kind of, I think my parents and my family thought it was a phase. When I said at 9, I'm going to be a professional wrestler, but it stuck with me, and I mean, I'm going to be 24 next month, so it's been my lifelong dream to be able to change women's wrestling and the perception that women had when I was growing up, to the bathroom breaks or those 3-minute matches.
The eye candy,
yeah,
things like that.
I knew that women could be more than that at such a young age, and I just envisioned what women's wrestling is today. So to kind of come up in this whole evolution and this have a revolution in every single company where women are getting more opportunities to be on TV, to be main events, to win championships, it's just, my heart is so happy.
What did you think, too, of some of the crossover? Like Ronda Rousey made a big splash.
Yeah.
How do you think that helps, if it does help?
It totally helps, and I think people think us women who are in wrestling are envious of that or don't like it, but I think this whole women's empowerment wasn't just wrestling, it's been worldwide, and athletes like Ronda Rousey or Serena and Venus Williams and these strong, powerful women athletes who demanded change in other aspects of pop culture today, really helped empower women in wrestling to make that change ourselves. So to have Rhonda, who's a lifelong wrestling fan, I've met her, she's an amazing person, and I'm so close with Shayna Baszler, who's very close with, so like to have these women come in and want to be wrestlers and see potential in women's wrestling, I think gives us credibility for what we're doing.
Did you ever get to go in the ring with either of them, or an octagon with either of them?
Not an octagon, I'm going to leave that to them. But I actually did a tour of Stardom
in
a
Japan.
year and a half ago, yes. And Shayna Baszler was one of my roommates, so I've tag teamed with her, but I don't want to get in the ring with her.
And who were some of your favorites, men and women?
I really love Trish Stratus, is like my all-time favorite. Her and Lita made me want to become a professional wrestler. But as far as the men, growing up I loved John Cena and Randy Orton and Eddie Guerrero, and but now some of my inspirations are like Bret Hart and Dean Malenko, and I love to watch like old WCW, Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero, and just that hybrid style really inspires me now.
Yeah, it was when cruiserweights really got into the fold, when WCW started putting them on and all. So you do this, a few more questions, wrap it up. Yeah. You do this, and then you're really starting to make waves in this industry. Yeah. Now what is your family thinking?
Like I said, I think when I was 18 and I found a wrestling school 20 minutes from my house, and I just went and I signed up. And I came home and I was like, so I'm gonna be a wrestler. And my mom was so angry because I had just signed a contract and like agreed to pay all this money that I was a college student with a part-time job making minimum wage. Like, how was I gonna do this? But I think in hindsight, it's almost been 6 years since that day, and I make a living doing this, and I travel the world, and I think they're just really proud that I get to do what I want to do, because I knew at such a young age what I wanted to do, and I've seen that through and I've accomplished that. So I think more than anything, they're just really happy and proud of me.
Yeah, you followed through. Well, hopefully too. You followed through on something. Yeah. All right, and now talk about the international travel, because that is so amazing. Yeah. Talk about some of the places recently you've been, where you're going, and just the kind of wrestling that's around the world. Yeah,
it's crazy because so I did that tour of Stardom, and I was there for about 3 months, and now Women of Honor has this partnership with Stardom, so some of those international girls were in our Women of Honor tournament, and we kind of have this crossover now. As we speak, Brandy Rhodes, who is a part of Women of Honor, is flying to Stardom right now. So that's really great, because we consistently get to go over there and learn a new style and adapt and evolve.
And new fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Different type of fans.
Exactly. Which I think is one of the most important things with the crossover right now. But I've gotten to wrestle in Canada and Puerto Rico. I was in the UK wrestling earlier this year. I just was in Australia, actually, the beginning of March. I wrestled 4 dates there. I was terribly sick. It was like the worst trip of my life. But I did get to go to Australia, which is an amazing accomplishment in itself.
Did you get to see the kangaroos?
I didn't. That was like, I said to Marty, if we're going to Australia, I need to see a kangaroo, I need to see a koala bear. And the promoter was like, oh, we're gonna go to Adelaide, and I know the person who helps with the zoo, so we'll go in Adelaide. So we didn't go. And then we get to Adelaide, and apparently all of the native animals had a whooping cough, which I thought was a lie, but multiple people told me that. So I just told him, well, you're gonna have to take me back here.
Good, you get a second trip out of it. That's
I hope
good
so,
too.
Yeah.
All right, so what are the goals here for Ring of Honor for you?
Well, tonight in West Palm Beach, I'm wrestling Kelly Klein. So my goal is to break her arm.
I love that. It's just come right out and say, you know, my goal is, what is it? To win? No, break her arm.
Break her.
And then what about bigger picture down the road?
Bigger picture, I want to be the Women of Honor champion, of course. But yeah, right tonight, my focus is on tonight.
Social media for your fans.
Yeah, everyone can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Deonna Purrazzo. Twitter is the best way to connect with me.
Hometown is?
Hackettstown, New Jersey.
New Jersey, there you go, representing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.